Okay, so installed, downloaded, no problems, awesome. And I think one guy Pandey was having issues with the system. So it should work with like any basic laptop because all the projects in the course are actually not going to be that heavy. So if you're able to download, you just need that say 10 GB of space. That is it. It should work. Installed. Okay. And for those of you who have not installed, you can actually sit with someone who already has installed, or maybe just look at the screen because I'll be following step-by-step procedure to set up a project, what options to choose, like the template to choose to start the project, and then we will go ahead with today's class. Okay. Ankush, Rajshekhar, Danish, Avinash, Ashutosh, everybody is done. Okay. So at least five more replies before we go ahead. We have like 21 people right now, and five of you have replied. So it's 25%. At least cross the 33% mark. Awesome. Done, 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 installed. And also license are also sorted now. Have you tried opening a project? Because once you open a project, then only you will get to know whether your license is fixed or not. Otherwise, just installation. Okay, we will figure out. So, like in my case, if I go to my Unity Hub, if you go to, I hope my screen is visible. You can go to licenses. You can see there is no license yet. But as soon as I open a project, you will see your license. But for you guys, you should be able to see your license because mine is the company license. So it is kind of a floating license. It will get added whenever I'm actively working on a Unity project, not with Unity Hub. So for you, you'll be seeing that student license or that personal license thing over here with your expiration date of 1 year or 1 month based on the license you have opted for. Installed, received student license. Awesome. Yes. So student license is kind of free. You get it for 1 year, but you can get it renewed each year. So it's essentially free for you guys. And there is no difference in the functionalities. So the functionalities are not limited by the kind of license you hold. So student license, your professional license, personal license, pro license, all of them have the same functionality. Deepak, were you able to install Unity? I think you mentioned in the chat your system is not that great. Deepak Pandey. If you're trying to speak, you need to unmute yourself first. Okay, 32 are there. And also mention how many of you have gone through the PDF or maybe tried something. Like who do not knew about Unity. So I have a two-screen setup. So I have like the PDF open on one screen, and I'll be doing the replicating the steps on the Unity screen, which is being shared with you. So if you guys have such a setup, then it's fine. Otherwise, in the classroom, you can just look at the big screen and try replicating all of that with you. Went through the PDF, awesome, Rajshekhar. Then it would be kind of easy peasy for you. Actually, if you go through the PDF, then everything you can do it by yourself. There is not much of a hassle, but I'm there to help you out in case you get stuck. So for today's class and for next 2-3 classes, I would like all of you to follow along with me. We can go on a slower pace because like initially it will take some time for you guys to understand or how to navigate through the Unity thing, Unity interface, right? Where to find what, and there are some hiccups, right? If you are dragging something onto the screen, you might drop it at a location which was not intended. Then it might cause some issues with your gameplay or your application, right? So we will check that out. And also, while creating scripts, there is a specific syntax that we need to follow. I will tell all of that in today's class. So, Professor Gautam, shall we start by 7:10? One more minute.
Yeah, sure, Nick. Just 1 minute. Yeah. So how many? 36. Yeah.
36.
Yeah.
I hope like it reaches 40, then we can start. Anyway, we recording the session, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think we can start, I guess.
Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome to the first actual class for learning Unity, and this is the basic agenda for today and maybe for tomorrow because there are a lot of things that needs to be done, and I have this thing open on my separate screen. So either you can follow through the all lesson plan thing, or you can just open the your Unit One lesson plan. The name is CWC Unit One lesson plan. So you will get everything, all the instructions here only, right? And I've also shared this particular project file, starter files here, right? Or you can find it out by clicking this link. You can actually download this. But I have already downloaded it. Okay. So now what I'll show is I'll show the folder structure that I have created. So basically, this is my D drive. I have a folder named Unity Learn, and inside it there's a root folder for IIT Kanpur Unity projects, right? Inside it I have Unity Unit 1, and inside it I have this prototype 1 starter files.zip. This file is required for today's class, right? So you also create a root folder like this where you will have Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4, all the 5 units, and within each unit you will have your Unity project for that particular unit, right? So that you can navigate easily, right? So a root project, inside it like 5 folders for 5 units and other folders for projects. Then inside Unit 1, you copy paste this thing, extract it, then I'll show the contents. So basically, it just have a Unity package. So basically, it's kind of a mini project or all the resources that we will need to build on our project. So if you have worked with Python or Arduino or maybe C++, so there are like libraries, import this, import that. So in Unity, to import a pre-existing set of libraries or any assets or resources, you can create a Unity package and then directly use it in any of your projects. So basically, we need not to do everything from scratch. We can actually use this package, right? Once it is ready, then what I'll do is my now Unit 1 has 2 folders. I don't need the zip one. I can delete it, right? Let it be here for some time. This is here. Okay, fine. So now I'll go to my Unity Hub. Your will not look like this. You will have all everything blank if you have not made any project, right? So what I'll do is I have to make a new project. I'll go to new project. Then it will show up all the available templates, right? So I will choose 3D built-in render pipeline. So this is the most basic render pipeline. There are different options for all kind of games that you can build, all kind of platforms or all kind of templates that you would like to use. Just like we have templates when we have to write application, when we write our thesis, there are fixed template. So there are different templates. Then there is this 2D. Basically, if you want to make a 2D game, you will choose this. Then there is this Universal 2D. Universal is a bit of better graphics. So built-in render pipeline is meant for low graphics or maybe not high fidelity graphics. The Universal Render Pipeline is the new addition to Unity, which is more of a better graphics default pipeline for any Unity project, right? So for maybe our AR VR project, we'll be using this. Then if you're making a AR game mobile, you can use this one. Then if you are making a universal render pipeline for a 3D game, you can use this one. And also there is a high definition one. High definition, if graphics are of high importance for you for the game or for the application you are building, then you will use this pipeline. So there are like 3 different graphics pipeline inbuilt into the Unity editor, right? Then there is like 3D mobile, 2D core, mixed reality, VR core, 2D platformer, micro game, first person shooter, or if you want to make a movie, then you can use this kind of template. So I will choose 3D built-in render pipeline. Then I will give the path to be of the same as Unity Learn, Unity Projects, Unit 1. Unit 1, this is the path, okay? I'll select the folder, I'll give it a name as Prototype 1. Prototype 1, right? Then I'll click on create project. Make sure this thing is checked in your case. Otherwise, it will take some time for you to create the project. Now, see, it will take, say, a minute or so to start up my project, right? Okay. So meanwhile, I'll just, where is the PDF? Okay. So meanwhile, I'll just, where is the PDF? Okay. So meanwhile, I'll just, 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 here. Just place it on my other window. Okay, and also keep posting in chat if you get stuck anywhere or if you have any issues. When repeaters we have in this class, 5 of us in class. Okay. So all of you like open up your Unity Hub, create a new project. In new project, you choose this 3D built-in pipeline, give the correct path here, give a project name here, and click on create project. I have already done that, so my project is loading like this. And if you see back at my folder, there will be a separate file. This is my Unity project. This is the starter file. This is the zip of that. This is the one which I have created just now. So you can actually call it prototype one project or something like that, or just keep it as prototype one. So it will take some time every time you load a Unity project because there are a lot of things happening at the back end to enable all these functionalities.
Excuse me, sir, one doubt.
Okay.
So when I was trying to create a new project, you mentioned to check on the box. It says like save to
Unity Cloud
cloud or check. Yeah.
connected to cloud.
Yeah. I'm not getting that option only.
Then it is fine. Or maybe you have to change the organization here. For me, it is like from my Siemens organization, but you will see your name here. If you don't see, just if you see this button enabled, you click on that and see if the project is being built or not, loaded or not.
Okay. Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, so my project has been loaded. It came up on the other screen. So you see it is loaded now. This is the path, and I opened it a minute ago. It is not connected as of now, right? But it is not required. It is the newest changes that happened with the Unity, how Unity is managing everything. So basically, they now provide a complete version control of the projects, then saving your project on the Unity Cloud itself, or you can actually host your applications in Unity Cloud. So Unity Cloud provides a lot of functionalities like multiplayer play, voice chat, relay, lobby, your monetizing your game and everything. So this is how my blank projects looks like. Okay. So let me know quickly in the chat if you are able to see this window or maybe the default layout. For you, it will be like this. So I have kept a layout, made a layout like this. So you can actually move around these windows, arrange them as you like it, and then maybe save that configuration. So I'll just keep it like this. Game, I put the game below. Right. This is my default because you get access to everything. Okay, put it in chat if you are able to load the project. Still loading, still loading. Yes, yes, that's cool. Okay, then we'll go ahead. So I'll just quickly take you through this interface just for once because we have to work on the interface, right? So this is you can and of course, and one more thing I forgot to mention, please use a mouse if you are. It's like just playing a first-person shooter game like Counter Strike. So if you use your mouse, it will be easier to navigate through the Unity interface. Okay, so by default, my scene name is a sample scene. If you can see on the hierarchy window, it has a main camera. Main camera is like whatever you see. So main camera is like the input point or entry point for our game. So basically, if I move the scene camera around, my game view will change. But there is nothing in the scene, so we will not be able to make out. Basically, this view is this view, what we see here. And the other component is the directional light. So you can actually change it. There are different kinds of lights, point lights, area light, all of that. So that these are the two main default components. Now, suppose I want to, and this is the scene window. So I can click on any of the component, press F, then I can focus on the component, right? Whatever component is selected, I can see all the properties over here. So basically, it's the name is main camera. Okay, main camera, and the layer is default. The tag is also main camera. The transform is basically the position, right? If I move it, the position will change. Say like this. So there are three arrows. This is the coordinate system. So basically, unlike in mathematics or like in general way, here right hand side is your x. your upwards or like towards your head is your y, and in your front, like whatever in the direction of your eyesight, is the z axis. So just make sure you understand this, because we will be applying transformations, or we will be doing this matrix manipulation, or maybe some sort of, just like you saw the car yesterday, it will happen along these axes. Okay, so if I change my position, the camera will move. Let me zoom out a bit. So you can actually write some number over here to change the camera position, or you can just take your cursor on the x. It will show a scroller kind of a thing. You will click and drag to change the position, click and drag to change the position, click and drag to change the position, right? Or you can just reset. This is the camera. Let's reset that. And you see, this is the view rectangle, right? So whatever is inside this big rectangle is visible in the camera, right? So if anything which is very close, like somewhere here, will not be visible. So we will look at that. And there are other properties, right? So this is the camera component because it's a special game object. So everything in Unity is called a game object, right? You can it is basically derived from the concept of object oriented programming, where everything is an object. And because it's a game engine, so everything is called a game object, right? So now let's try to add. So basically this is the window where you create your environment, create your scene, right? And game window is when you click on play, your game window will pop up, right? But nothing will happen because we have not added any functionalities right now. This green color tinge you see is I have added separately to identify when I am in the play mode. So currently it is on play mode because I have clicked on play, right? And when I click again on play, it will come out of the play mode like this. So you can change that color. We can look at that later. But for you, it will be kind of less grayish. I think the default setup is like that. The dark gray is the default while you are not in play mode. And when you click play, it will be somewhat grayish for you. Okay, so now let's try to add a game object, or let add some object in the scene. So what I'll do is I'll right click on the hierarchy window, right? This is my project window. You will see assets, scenes, and only nothing is there. And the packages are like some default packages which are a part of Unity to make it run properly, right? The assets or this folder is which we are using in our game right now. So currently there is just one scenes folder and a scene in there. So you will be seeing like this. So you can remove it. You can reduce the scroll bar to just see the name. If the layout is not like this, you must be seeing like this, right? But I like this one more, two column layout. Okay, so now let's add a game object. So let's create 3D object. I'll say cube. Now I can see the cube over here. The position and transform of my cube are like this. All the units are in meters, right? So basically if I change this, we can move the cube. We can move it in the y direction or in the z direction. You can rotate the cube as well, see? And you can, in any direction you can rotate XYZ, just like Euler algebra. And you can also scale like if you want to make a flat surface or maybe like a building or something, you can just scale it up like this, right? Now it is not, it should be visible in my camera. So let's see where my camera is. So my camera is over here and it is out of the view of my camera. So what I'll do is I'll just keep it and drag it inside. Now I can see in the below window, I can see that, right? Like this. Okay, so this is how you create. Let's add one more game object. We'll go to 3D. Let's add a capsule. It's more of a 3D ellipse, right? And it is still not in the camera view. So let us move it. Still not there. So maybe because it is like 13 meters in X direction, let us reset and then move it forward. Yeah. So now I can see this one as well, right? So in this view, it is not clear that the cube is behind the capsule, but in reality it is, right? But both of them appear to be of the same size. That is because of the perspective transform, right? So this is how we can see things happening. Let's add a plane as well. 3D object, let's add a plane. Plane will be like this, and maybe reset the transform. This is the plane. Let it reset. So it's on the ground right now. And yes, now, if you see, I do not see the plane over here. That's because my camera is exactly coinciding with the plane. So if I move my camera a bit up, a bit back, then I can see the plane and I can tilt my camera more like a bird's eye view kind of a thing. So in the x-axis, I want to tilt it in this direction. So what you can do is either use the transform uh, transform component in the inspector, or you can actually just press. There are things over here. You can press this button and then click and drag to change the orientation, right? Now let's make the capsule. I want to change it back to this thing, transformer, or like the move tool. This is the rotate tool. So you can actually select a game object, press Q, W, E, R to access the rotation position and scaling tool directly, right? So if I want to rotate it or like this way, it is fine. Okay. And currently all of them are of white color. They are not looking nice. So what we'll do is we'll create some materials. So I'll go to my assets. I'll do right click. So whatever I want to create new, I will always have to do it in the assets folder. I'll do right click, create. I can see a lot of things. I go to material. Okay. It did not happen, but why? Or it did happen. I'll go to again, create new material. Yeah, new material. Let's call it matte floor. Basically, the nomenclature. It's a material for floor, and change the color to say green like this and close it. Now I to apply. Now this is an important thing. So I want to apply my material to my plane. So first of all, let's investigate what are all the components that are present in the plane game object. So it has a plane mesh filter, which is basically showing the plane, right? So it's more of less a cube with no Z, with no depth, right? It's more of a cube. Then there is a mesh render, basically the visuals that you see on top of it, right? So currently it has this default material. I can apply this material onto it. Then they have some lighting, probes, additional settings. Mesh collider is there. Suppose you want to make it collide with anything and you want to record that thing, right? Suppose you want any objective when it falls on top of it, you want to do a score, like each time it falls on the floor, you increase the score by 1. So it also have a mesh collider. It does not have it is not visible, but it is there, right? So to apply my material, what I can do is I can click and drag on top of my material, and now it will change color, right? So if you look at my materials, now it will have the matte floor by default, or I can choose any material from here. So there are other materials. So these are default materials which came as a part of building a 3D built-in render pipeline project. Some default skybox, default particle. So these are some default materials. You can create your own new materials. Now let's see duplicate this one to create a material for the cube. So I either do Control C, Control V, or just click and do Control D. Control D means duplicate. I can then change its name.
Vinay, hi. Sorry to interrupt.
Hmm.
For few of us in the classroom, the project is still in the opening process, and you have gone way ahead of us. So, like, we have like 6 people very confused.
Okay, okay. So I could not get you. Your voice is breaking. So what's the problem?
Yeah, hi. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah, the problem is like for most of us, the project file is open right now. It's still opening for few of us. We are like 6
Yeah, no
people.
problem. So that's why I have not started. This is not part of the project files. This is just random intro to Unity. So I will close everything off and then start using whatever there in the PDF. So this is just for your basic understanding how to work in Unity. It's not a
Okay.
part of that thing. I'll start following a PDF when you have the project open, right?
Okay, cool. Then yeah, we are on the same page.
Yeah. So once your project is ready, just see. Just this is for you to see how things are working, because we'll be doing this again when we do the when we follow the PDF. Okay.
Got it. Yeah.
So I did Control D to duplicate this material. Now I'll just change its name to say material cube, matte cube, and I can change the color to say red, right? Or you can directly provide an hex code over here, or you can put the values over here. It's up to you. You can change the domain if you like, right? So this color is fine. I'll just close it. This is my color. To apply this color to the cube, I'll just click and drag it to cube, right? So now my cube has become red. Now let me create a material for the capsule. So I'll choose any one of these, do Control D, or I can do right click, create material, name it, whatever you like. Okay. So let's make it capsule. Okay. Spelling is correct. Now I can choose, say, a bluish color for this. This is fine. Now what you can do is to apply, either you can click and drag on top of capsule, or you can click on capsule, maybe close this off, like just and drag and drop the material over here. they are basically the same thing. Either you drag and drop on top of the game object in the hierarchy window, or you drag and drop in the inspector of the selected object. Both are same thing, right? Or you go to the materials and apply over here. They are the same thing. But the easier way is drag and drop onto the object. Now they are working fine. Okay. Now let's see if we can make them move, right? So I'll just bring it close to basically on my floor. So what I'll do is I'll just reset everything. Now I'll bring it up and maybe to the left and little bit to the right. Right. So if I now press play, what should happen? So my guess is nothing. It will be a blank scene with this view, right? So basically currently it is building all of that. So it takes some time. So you have to be a little bit patient with Unity, right? So it is in play mode now. Nothing is happening. If I press the button, nothing is happening because we have not uh, added any behavior to our components, our game objects, right? So what I'll do is I can add, say, a rigid body. Rigid body is like physics wala rigid body. Okay, I'll just add a rigid body. Mass is 1 kg, right? And same, I can choose these two and add rigid body to it. Now what they should happen is they should fall on the ground. And I should add a rigid body to my plane as well, already added. Cool. So now, okay. And for these two rigid bodies, I want to use gravity, but for the plane thing, I don't want to use gravity. Otherwise, plane will also fall down, right? Will keep going down till infinity. So now my intuition is if I now, yeah, like this, if I now click on play, the object should fall on the ground. Yeah, they are falling, but they are going through. See, if you look at here, they keep falling. There is no collider thing happening. Okay, so there is a warning. Non-convex mesh collider with non-kinematic rigid body is no longer supported with Unity 5. Okay, so what we'll do is in the plane, let's add a mesh collider, and it is like the convex is not checked, so we want to make it convex. Okay, convex checking, making it convex makes it okay. So if you fall on top of me, you will stay there. Just this for your understanding. So let me, so basically this is my console window and it is really important while building your games. So console is just like the output of the code. So we have not written any code, but if anything is not correct, it will come up over here. And the things which are correct, they will also appear. So basically this is a log. This is like warnings and these are for errors. So you should be able to see all of these. Okay, so now for now I click on play, it should fall. Okay, now my plane is also moving, right? So if I now look at the things, where did my plane go? Yeah, it is falling. Okay, because it got hit. Because if an object falls on a surface, it is some force that is being transferred, right? So now it falls off. Cool plane. This is rigid body. Capsule collider is trigger. Cube is also trigger. And plane. Mesh convex, and we're not using gravity over here. Mesh render. Cool. Right. So now let's move on to, if you guys have the project open, we can move on to the actual PDF, right? So basically I've created a scene. So now I can save my scene as, I should choose the scenes folder and rename it as say example scene, right? And save. And so it should be visible in here and I can open it. Example scene like this, right? And if I open the sample scene, it is the same, but it is not saved. So you will see a asterisk mark over here if the scene is not saved, right? So this is your scene window where you create your environment. This is the game window where you will see how your game will look like for the user. This is the console window to see any of the outputs, right? Hierarchy will show what are the components, of my scene currently are. Project window will host all of your assets. Say materials, you are importing some 3D assets from some third party location. All of them should appear here. And the correct way to do is this. I have these materials, so I'll create a folder called materials to hold all of my materials. to just to arrange my things correctly. So I'll just drag and drop into this. So now my materials folder will have all the materials, right? And yeah, pretty much it. So please mention in chat if you have the project open, still loading. Okay. I think it should open by now. It will take hardly 5 minutes to open, right? So what I'll do is I'll just quickly create a new scene now. So I'll go open a new scene, right?
What's the meaning of scene? Excuse me.
Scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, so scene is kind of an instance of the environment you are creating right now. So we are calling it a scene. So this is my, say, suppose I'm making a game where I have to drive a car through the obstacles, right? So my scene would be like a big ground with all the obstacles and some terrain. So that environment is being called a scene. And why we are calling it a scene? Because in many game in general in games we have multiple scenes, like different stages. So if you finish this one, the next scene will load, then next scene will load. So it is basically a scene that you create here, right?
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Also, Vinay, can you help us arrange the layout that you have? Because we have different layouts here.
Different layout, huh? So what you can do is you can actually choose the tall layout, and you can tap the game window at below, and then maybe uh, save the layout as with your name. So I have saved it as VKS tall, right? You can save, you can, so I'll show it again. So you go to the default layout. This is the layout you must be seeing right now. You go to this top right corner, click on tall, then tap this game window at the bottom, right? And you do not see the console window right now. So you can go to window, layouts, and there has to be this console window, panels. Mm, Next window, sequencing running, general, and you can see console. Now you tab it to this thing, yeah, and again you tap the game window at the bottom. So you will have this kind of a layout, and now you can save it with your name or anything. So for saving, just click here and save layout. Right? Let me know if you're able to do it. So first of all, go to tall, then move drag and drop. I'll again go to tall, drag and drop the game window over here. Then go to window, general, and console window. You tab it on this side and again tab it here, so that this is the distribution you will see. So here I can add it. This is what my player will see when he is playing my game. And I should have all my components over here. This is my project file. If you don't see the project like this, you can go and choose two column. Otherwise, you'll be seeing like this single column with a tree kind of a structure. You can do two column, and you can use the scroll bar to make it just like all the labels only, no folder icons. Let me know if you are able to do it.
Actually, here the plane is falling down, right? So instead of giving a rigid body, if you
Hmm.
remove the rigid body, it is not falling down. For the
Yeah,
plane.
so
For the
yeah,
plane,
because it is, yes, yes. So if you just maybe uncheck the component, plane, and this is rigid body, and you remove this component, then it will not fall. So if I click on play, it will just fall down and it will stay there. Because it's, if it's a rigid body, it is kind of there is an impact force happening when these two are falling, then it is falling off, right? So what I'll do is I'll just choose the capsule, take it up and leave, so it will fall again, right? So basically in play mode, you can actually play around with all these things. So if I say rotate it like this and leave it, it will come back, and it will behave based on the properties mentioned in the rigid body section. So suppose if I reduce the mass to 0.01 and now turn it, then it will be a different behavior. Or maybe if I take it up like here and here, okay. And drag, angular drag is kinetic. Use, if I don't use gravity, then it will not come down. It will stay up only. If I use gravity, it will fall down. Okay. And suppose you want to free some of the constraint, as in you don't want it to move in a certain direction, you can actually freeze the position, say suppose in the X and Z. So I cannot move it in these two directions if I leave it. Yeah. Freeze position. Yeah. But it's still moving. Maybe from script we can manipulate all of that. So if you guys are ready, we can start with the actual project that we have to make today, right? It's hardly 20 minutes more. All ready? Layout done. Yeah, happened. Open now. Ready. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. So we'll start. So now what I'll do is, this is like the basic interactions that you can do in Unity. Now I'll go to File, create a new scene. If you have not created any scene, then it is okay. Basic built-in, I'll choose Create. Okay, this is my new scene now. I'll just name it, rename, save scene as, in the scenes, I will save as prototype 1. Prototype 1. Okay, and save. Right now I have the PDF open on my second screen. You can check out if you have it open. Okay, so basically we have to start with the process. Right. So it says we have to, we have already please mention if you downloaded the prototype 1 starter files.zip and have extracted it. Okay. So because we will be using that particular package to work in this project. Right. So what I'll do is I know where my files are in unit 1, starter files. This is my package I want to import in my current Unity project. I have saved it as prototype 1. There are any components apart from camera and directional light. So I'll go edit, import assets. I'll go to assets, import package, custom package, and then I'll choose unit 1, starter files. This is the package I'll open. Right. So if you see my assets window, so basically you will see something like this. So you make sure you are selected everything. So basically it's a course library or just a folder which contains all the files that we need to work with. There are some FBX models, then there are some materials, then some miscellaneous skyboxes. Skyboxes, whatever you see here, right? Then there are some obstacles, ground, sky, vehicles, scenes, right? So I'll select all and import. So you will see a new folder coming up here, like the course library is here. I see some issues, import FBX warning. They are just warnings. We can ignore them, right? We can clear. Okay. So now if you look at my course library, this is a new folder which came up after importing that particular asset, right? You can go to source files, ground, obstacles, sky, and vehicles. So if you want to look at ground, this is the ground road that we have. So if you drag and drop here, you will see a road kind of a structure. Okay. So if you want to make roads and all, you can quickly do it. Okay. Like this. So for now, we'll delete that. We'll now follow the next instructions. Okay, so in the instruction says we have to go to the course library and then we have to open the scene. In my scene, I have seen prototype 1. Okay, this scene is named prototype 1 and there is a scene called prototype space 1, which is the scene which came from. So better we just open the prototype 1 scene, the space thing. Okay, I don't want to save it. Right, so this is the scene that came up with the package we imported, right? This is how it looks like. Okay, so basically it's kind of a small skybox within which we have a sky, some surrounding mountains, and this is how it looks. So if you press right click and you do scroll up and down, you can change the speed of your movement. So I'm doing right click to pan around or look around in the scene, right? And I can use my keyboard WASD to move around, just like in Counter Strike. So I can just keep pressing WASD and use my mouse to move around. Okay, so this is the scene that we want to work with today, right? So next is we want to now add a vehicle to on the road. We see there is a road, so there has to be a vehicle which should be driven on the road. So I'll go to my vehicles and let us place all of that over here, right? Now, if I just go press F, I see all my models over here. So basically, everything is positioned at 000. So we need to actually select and move out to understand what are the different vehicles that we have. Right. So these are the 5 different vehicles that we got within the package. So you are actually supposed to place any one of these whichever you like in the scene. So what I'll do is I am liking the tank pretty much. So I'll just remove all of these from my project. Right. So now this is being placed over here. I'll just move it a bit back. You can see all the meshes from this view. Okay. Or the triangles for the collider thing to work. Once we have placed the uh, vehicle on the road, we still see that our camera is over here because we are seeing the side view from this side, right? So our next goal is to actually add an obstacle. So to add an obstacle, either we can create a cube like this. So first of all, there is a sky dome, environment is there. So in the scene, we have main camera, directional light, environment. Environment contains the skybox, which has the moon, star, sun, skybox, and the road itself, right? And this is the car that I'm adding. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly rename it to my car so that I can differentiate it from other game objects. My car, or you can call it player. Basically, the uh, nomenclature is to name the main character which is controlled by the user to as player, right? But we'll call it my car, right? Then what I'll do is go to library. We have to add an obstacle and reposition it. So now I'll go to obstacles.
Excuse me, Vinay.
Yes.
Yeah, when we added this vehicle, right? When I added
Uh,
that vehicle, the road scene has gone and only the blue screen is appearing.
blue screen. The road scene has gone. So you see, I think this screen, this side you see like this. Do you see environment in your hierarchy? First of all, you have to open
Hierarchy.
the scene in the scenes folder. You have to open this scene. I'll just delete this one. You have to open this scene, prototype one. Then you will see everything. Are you in the same scene? Can you share the screen?
Yeah, 1 minute.
So basically, if you click on say my car or the environment and press F, you should be able to see like this.
Right. See, it appeared like this for me.
Okay, let me stop the share. Are you sharing?
Yeah.
Huh. So it became blue. Click on the basic. No, no, no. So you actually double clicked it. So you are in the prefab mode. So basically, you have opened the car in an isolation with the scene. So if you see
Okay.
the little arrow, click on the little arrow beside the name of the car in the hierarchy on the left side in the hierarchy above, left, top where you see vehicle, armor, car, top left. Click here. Now you are back in the scene. So now
Okay.
you have to click and drag. So basically, all these things are prefabs. I'll tell you about what are prefabs. Drag and drop in the you can directly do it in the scene
Yeah, now
or
it up.
awesome. So either you can drag and drop in the scene directly, or you can just drag and drop in the hierarchy window. That is much easier, right?
Okay.
So if you drag and drop in the scene, sometime it may go at a very far off location. But if you drag and drop in the
Understood.
scene, it will mostly spawn at 000.
Understood.
Okay, just now rename it to say my car or player or whatever you want. Okay, I'll just share my screen now. Rename, or you can just press F2 and rename it. You see, like in environment, there is no blue color in the icon, and in your car, you have this blue color icon. That means it's a prefab. Prefabs are say prefabricated objects, right? Suppose
Okay.
you are working on the Arduino board, you get all the sensors. You are not making the sensors yourself. Those are
Mm.
prefabricated. You can buy it off. So similarly, in Unity, we make use of prefabs. Suppose you make a car once. Now, whenever you want to use a car, you don't want to create the car again, right? So you can just
Okay.
save it as a prefab. So I'll just let me just share okay, my screen is shared. Okay. So basically this is my car and it has all these objects. So what I'll do is I'll do right click and prefab. I want to unpack it completely. Unpack means, so currently until it is blue, it is connected to this particular prefab on from which it is being made. Right. So whatever a change I make will get reflected over here. Suppose now I want to add I'll just go to my car, right? And I'll on the gizmos, I'll just switch off the maybe just like this. So basically, I can see my car in the true sense. Okay, so this is my car, and suppose I want to change. I
Sir,
want to
we are
add.
not able to see your screen.
Is it?
Yes.
But it is okay. I'll share again. It should be visible now.
Yes, sir, fine.
Okay. So
Yeah, it's
basically,
coming.
Yeah, so basically, what I did, I went to prefab and I clicked on unpack completely. So my blue color icon is gone now. So basically, this my car is a separate instance now for my game. It is not connected. If I drag and drop like this, they are actually the same object, but this thing is a prefab. That means whatever changes I make will get saved over here, so that it is connected. So what I did is I did right click prefab unpack completely to completely isolate this particular instance of the car, right? So previous, if it is blue, it means that whatever change I make here will get saved over here by default. So I'm changing the default prefab. So better I do right click prefab and unpack completely. So basically remove all the connections from the prefab, treat this vehicle or this object as a isolated game object, which is just like these other ones. So what I'll do is I'll just delete, and suppose I just want to show how to make a prefab. Suppose here I want to add a cube, just to show that I can make some changes. I'll add a cube over here, and I want to place the cube at the head. It is there now. Now I can save my. I can go to assets. I'll create a new folder called prefabs. Prefabs. Basically, we were supposed to learn about prefabs in the following lecture, but let's do it now. Okay, in the prefabs folder, nothing is there. I'll do my car and place it here. Now my car has become this like this. So now in the prefabs, I have my car as a prefab. Wherever I spawn it, my car will always come with this cube, because it's I have created a new prefab now. So basically, whoever wants to use this car with the cube thing will use my prefab. Right? This is how you create a prefab. Basically, just create whatever you want in the hierarchy and drag and drop here. Now it is asking you want to change or you want to create add changes. So basically, I'll just cancel because it's the same thing. And it has become blue now again because it's a part of prefab now.
Sir, for this project, do we need to create it as a prefab, or should we just
Just drag and
download
drop.
it?
No, just download. Just download
Okay,
course library, go to vehicles, select any of the
and
vehicle you like,
take
and
it?
drag and drop
Yeah.
over. Yes.
Okay, okay, okay.
Right. Just for your understanding, I've made it like this. Okay. Now we'll move on to the next thing. Now, okay. So currently, if I click play, nothing will happen. Okay, because there are no interactions. Where the next step for us is to add obstacles. So I'll choose these obstacles. I'll drag and drop onto my scene, and then maybe one by one I can place them on the road. Right. I can place them, move them, place them, move them. You can actually make a specific structure if you want. Let's place like this. Okay. Like this. And suppose let's make them move here and there so that it's kind of a obstacle course for the car to drive on. Right. So now this is how my road will look like. There is a barrel, there is something this. You can place any obstacle you want, you can place it the way you like. So this obstacle is halfway down the road, so I'll bring it on top. Or actually you can be more creative, just make it slightly up, and whenever the car comes it should fall. So you can use a timer or something. We can look at that later on. Or you can just do control D and maybe choose place these on top of each other, right? Like this. So it's completely up to you. How do you want to place the objects? Grade 3, grade 1, I'll take it here, and I'll place this one over here like this, and maybe this one on top of the others. Okay, like this. So you can place your obstacles the way you like, right? Or if you are more coming from a mathematical intuition, you can directly just select and press some numbers over here to change the obstacles, right? Or you can just use the move tool from here, or you can press WSD, sorry, WAS after click selecting the object over here, right, to move it around. This is done. So now let's call, now we have a lot of things in our window. So what I'll do is I want to properly manage them. So what I'll do is I'll create a empty game object. Empty game object is just like a placeholder. So there are no visuals. See, nothing is there. So I'll just I can use it for nomenclature. So I can call it player, and I can move it a bit up. Right. So this is my player, and I can I just duplicate that, Control D, I can call it obstacles, just to uh, arrange things correctly, obstacles, right? And I can move my obstacles like this. So make sure you are not putting this inside this. It will become a children and a parent relationship. You don't want that. Just place it on top. Okay. So maybe I'll do Control Z. Layer. This is for just uh, understanding or maybe differentiating between the different uh, components that are part of the hierarchy. Okay. I'll just make it reset. This is also reset. So basically my player is this one. These are all my obstacles, right? I have added these many obstacles. Now I want to add some kind of, now let's try how it looks like when I click on play. Basically when I click on play, nothing should happen apart from the this object being should fall on the road if there is a rigid body attached. So nothing is happening right now. This is my game view. Nothing is happening. If I press anything, nothing is happening, right? Because we have not done any kind of behavior uh, definition. Okay, I'll save my scene. I have added all of these obstacles. Then I want to actually, so if you have played any racing game, we have already seen we move, the camera is behind the car, right? So how can you move the camera behind the car? We can just select the camera. I'll just, and as I move here, the scene below will change. This side and this side. And we know the camera is looking in this direction. So I want to move the camera by say 90, right? Around Y, I want to move it 0. Okay, now it is like this. And I want to make it a bit up and it should look a bit down. So rotation around X should be what? 10, 20, or it is up to us, whatever you want to keep, like this. This is fine. Maybe let's make it 15 degrees clockwise. So this is my camera position right now. Okay. And it should be, my X should be 0 and Y is fine. Z is -6. Cool. So this is the view that I'll get. Okay. So if you want to follow the, yeah, so it is move the camera behind the vehicle. It's done. Customize the interface layout. We have already done that. So this, we are done with the lesson 1.1. Now we want to actually make the car move, right? So now we will be creating our very first script to control my car, right? So what we'll do is we, first of all, to keep the sanity of the projects, because there are going to be a lot of things. So we'll create a new folder called scripts, and these are the basic conventions. So if you open any Unity project, you will find a materials folder, prefab folder, scenes folder, or scripts folder. That's the default thing. So if I open scripts now, very important thing to note, I'll do right click, create C# script. Now only while it is highlighted, why I'm creating a new script, I have to name it whatever I want. So I want to name it, say, car controller, because I want it to control my car, and this controller is kind of a convention. Now, renaming it just now, I will now press enter so that the script gets created. Why renaming it while creation of the script is important? Because once you create a script in Unity, it creates a class with that particular name, right? So default name is new behavior. So if you leave it like that, then the class internally will be created with the name new behavior. And later on, if you change the name, the class name will not change and you will see an error. And I'm pretty sure most of you are going to face this error. So it will come with practice only. See, now this class has been created. Okay, now tell me if you guys have installed VS Code or not. Because if I double click over here, it will open up VS Code with this particular script. So VS Code is just an editor for writing your scripts. Just like Word is there, you can actually use Notepad also, Notepad or your basic Word also to edit the scripts. But with VS Code, we get this nice color coding and we get a lot of intelligence. So let me know in the chat if you have installed VS Code or you already have VS Code, or if you already have Visual Studio, that is also fine. If you, but
Sir, One question. In the previous step where we are creating the script folder, is it necessary to like take care of the case sensitivity of the
No,
names
no,
of the
no, no,
folder?
no, 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 no. For no naming the folder is up to you, but like scripts, yes, S should be capital, rest all should be small. But for the car controller, you should not ideally should not keep any spaces in the class name, because see, I name the script as car controller. You see car controller over here. It is kind of a class, public class, which is of type mono here, inheriting from mono behavior, right? So there has please make sure you do not have a space in the name of the script. Folder is fine. Right. So let me know if you are done, and let me know if you have some kind of code editor, whether it is your Sublime Text or uh, PyCharm or Visual Studio or whatever. Notepad++ is also fine. But I use VS Code because it is very lightweight and there are a lot of extensions available. So with extensions, I mean this thing. I have this C# or Unity assistance with me, which is from Microsoft only. So I get a lot of intelligence or IntelliSense in my script, right? So by default, this is how a script will look like. So these are the using. So basically, it is importing some basic libraries which are required for the script to work. Then the name of the script is treated as a class of its own. So if you are aware about object-oriented programming, basically a class is like an object. So let me give you an example. So we as humans talk about things or talk or treat every object or everything as a thing, right? Have you seen this movie? Have you seen this car? I have this phone. So all the humans know this vocabulary. What is a phone? What is a movie? Or what is a place? So just like name, place, animal, thing, a class is the definition for a thing, and the thing in Unity is called game objects, right? So basically, there is a class called car controller. Now it will have some properties, some functions, just like you think of class as a phone or any other object, which will have some properties and some functions. So properties of the phone could be what is the screen size, what is the battery size capacity, what is the RAM, or say what is the refresh rate. These are properties. And what are the functions of a phone? You can call someone, you can receive a call, you can do SMS, you can do WhatsApp, you can watch videos, you can record or you can record a video, you can take a picture. These are the functions. So properties are like some stable or some you can say static things, static values, which gives you some information about that particular class or that object. And methods are some functions which that thing can perform, right? So similarly, in my car controller class, there are basically two methods by default: start and update. Can anyone of you tell me where have you seen these two functions before? I The hint is the last Friday's workshop.
Okay. Arduino.
Yes, Arduino is the right answer. You had this loop, I think, and there is a setup or start function. So same thing. Something you want to do, kind of setting in the start. Say before driving a car, you do engine is on, AC is on, music is on, seat belt is on. Then you start driving. So basically, whatever the setup is required, anything required before running the game or whatever, you do all the setup over here. Then anything required for running the game, right? So basically, just like an actual car, doing all the setup, like starting the car, engine is on, the window shields are up. We'll do it here, and here update. I'll just control the car. So based on my keyboard input, I want to control the car. That will go here. So this will take care of keyboard control of the car, right? So let me know if you are able to make the script. It should be like this. You can name, give any name, but give it car controller to make more sense, right? So next is I want to now add some. So now what I want is I want this car to be controlled by this script. So just like we applied the color, I can just drag and drop over here, or I can put it on my car. So just make sure when you are placing it here, it should not go here or here. It should be already on the car, always on the car. So now if I click on my car, I can see this controller. Okay, my car controller is here. See, script is there. So basically now whatever we write in the script, my car should behave in that way, right? Okay, so now what I want to do is keyboard control of the car. So first of all, I want to make the car go forward. Okay, so I think these are okay. I'll just remove this comment, right? So, and I'll remove this one, or let it be like this. So see, it is giving me already some suggestions. Car controller, get component. We look at this later, but it's the intelligence that we get with the Unity extension that you will not get in Notepad++ or the basic text editor. Okay. So now I want to make the car go forward, and it should not happen at the start, right? Because I want the car to go forward at each frame. Update is what? Which is called once per frame. And typically it will run at say 60 or more FPS. So this function will be called 60 times per second, right? It is like keep running it. It's more like the engine of the whole uh, game object, right? It will keep looking for what next, what next. So to make it move, what I'll do is transform. So just why transform? So every game object has a transform function. To make things move, what we do, we change the transform, right? So similarly, I want to use this. All of these components are accessible through the script. So I'll do transform and dot. What I want to do is translate. There is a see lot of functions are already there. You need to do work about all the math and all. So just translate, and where do you want to translate it to? So basically, if you look at this thing, will give me the moves the transform in the direction and the distance of the translation. So basically, this will take a vector 3 in which director you want to move and which space relative to. So there are two types of spaces in Unity. One is the space related to me, right? So suppose if I say move to your right, so it will be to your right, or move to my right. Basically, you will take reference from me. So in Unity, we have the scene, the world coordinate, basically this 0 0. Uh, so there is this main camera, or like there is a absolute 0 0 of my whole world, like the origin of the world, and every object has its own origin as well, right? So do you want to move things related to a specific object? This could be a use case. Suppose you want an enemy to follow a player all the time. So for him, the movement will be related to the player, not with respect to the world, right? So there are two types of coordinate systems. One is the world system, and another is the object or the local coordinate frame. Okay, transform dot translate, and we can move it, say vector 3. So I'll do it 0, 0, 1, because we want to make it move in the X, Y, and Z. This is my Z, so I want to make it move in the Z direction by 1 unit. Now I save it like this, and this script is attached to my car. So by default, it understands transform means the transform of the object on which this script is attached. So basically, I just written this line. At every update function call, you change the transform and move it in the Z direction by 1 unit. Okay, so now let's see if it works. There is some error, but it should go away. There is no error. If I click on play, I could see my car moving in the Z direction. See, it went off, but where is the car? See, it is going up to infinity. It will not
How
stop,
did
right?
you save the code?
So basically, just press Control S. So you will see a star mark over here if it is not saved. I think you are talking about how did I attach this to my car.
No, just the save that I
Just
pressed.
Control S. So if I make any changes, this becomes red, or just there is a number against it. It is not saved. Once I do Control S, it is getting saved. So a very good point. You have to save the script. So it will happen many times you make changes over here, but it will not reflect over here because the script is not saved. Unless you save the script, it will not take action. Okay. So now it is going very far. So for that, what we can do is, right. So we saw that it is going very far. So basically, this is the speed. The speed is 60 meter per second. Why? Because we assume it is called per frame. We assume our FPS or frames per second is 60. So this function is called 60 times per second, and this the units in Unity is in meters. So it means 1 meter per call of the update function. If you call it 60 times per second, that means my speed is 60 meter per second. That is like insanely fast, right? So now we want to This is just for your understanding. There are some better ways to do it. So now we will change it to, I'll just comment it out. I'll change it, transform.translate.
Hello.
Hello, yes.
Yeah, sir. How is the code connected to the object in the car?
So
Like,
just drag and drop. Drag
Ah.
drag the script to this, because if I click on my car, you see there is this my car controller script attached. So
Okay.
you need to drag and drop. That's a good question. Otherwise, it will not work. So always make sure once you create the script, now initially you only attach. Then after whatever changes you make, then you need not to reattach. While creation only you attach, so that you anyway, like, you will understand. If it is not attached, you'll get to know why nothing is happening. So just drag and drop onto the object, right? So now to do it in a better way, what we can do is we can use a vector 3. So basically, vector, we know vectors. So there is a specific class which is predefined within Unity, which is called vector 3. So what we can do is vector 3 dot forward. So it will understand. This is basically saying 001 in Unity's lingo. It means vector 3 forward. So vector 3 dot forward is 001 essentially. But just to make it more readable, it is there. It is like this, right? Now, if I save it and run it, it will be the same effect as before, but it is going still very fast. So it will take some time because it is loading. See, my car is gone. Now I want to stop it. I want to create a variable so that I can control the speed of the car, right? So to do that, what can I do is I need to multiply this with time dot delta time, right? And by a factor of say 20, right? So time dot delta time uh, is the interval in seconds from the last frame to the current frame. So basically, if my FPS current, my frames per second is 60, so this value is 1 by 60. So we multiply with this to make my objects behave in a more real world way, right? Because this function is getting called 60 times per second, and this thing is the time between each frame. So right, it is 1 by 60. So it is kind of giving me the real world behavior, right? And this is just a you can say a what do you call, a factor which I'm multiplying this whole thing with, because I this thing is say 1 by 60 and this is 20. So we have some sort of reasonable speed of the car. Let's see if it is saved. I'll do Control S. I'll go back to Unity. It will take some time. No, cool. So now it should go slowly. See, this is much better. No. And where is my car? F. Yeah, I can see my car going in the top view. Okay, this is going like this. Cool. But there are still some problems. My camera is still at the original location. It should follow my car, and it should hit the obstacles. And there has to be some physics kind of a behavior where if I hit something, it should I should have a recoil. The object should say, get that thrust or get that force, right? So for that, what we'll do is we will add a rigid body component to all the obstacles, right? So they do not have a rigid body. This also does not have a rigid body. I think all of them do not have a rigid body. So what we'll do is I'll just add rigid body to all the obstacles, and they are using gravity. Fine, let's see how it goes. So see, the object is falling, and okay, nothing happened apart from this particular rock falling, because my car does not have a rigid body, right? So we need two rigid bodies to actually have that physics wala thing. I'll add rigid body to this thing as well. So now if I place all my obstacles, I'll do their X to be 0. So they all come in a line so that we can see a nice visual of it, of my car colliding with this. Right now, let's play. Now we should see all of these being hit by the car. Oh my God. Now, can you tell me why this happened? Why the tank went back and now it is falling through infinity?
Due to the friction collision.
Friction. Okay. What else? But
Mass.
it's mass. Yes, mass is the right answer. So my car is just 1 kg, right? Which is not the case. And all the obstacles are also 1 kg. That's the default value. So what if I make my car say, how heavy is the car? 100 kg, 200 kg, 50 kg. Any guesses? Let's see now.
1000 kg.
Yeah, correct. In the range of thousands, right? So now it should make the obstacles. Ah, nice. This is a good behavior, right? Now that's what happens. Now what we'll do is Now let's say barrel. I'll make barrel as 10,000 kgs. Now what will happen? We'll see. See, the barrel is at place, but my tank got off track. So now you got an idea, right? So you can give different weights to the different obstacles, and you can have this sort of behavior, right? Cool then. This thing is done. Duplicate the position of the obstacles. We have done that already. High speed car chase. Add speed variable for your vehicle. So what I'll do is we'll just write up a at offset camera because like you guys have to go for dinner. No. We have to write more scripts. Print. Do you guys have like 5 more minutes so that we can quickly take it to a proper destination and that you can do replicate at your home and we can meet tomorrow? Or should we stop here? Because I want to add like keyboard control. I want to make the camera follow the car, and we want to introduce some variables so that I can control the speed. What? Just write in chat quickly. Okay, someone, we have time. Do you want to install recommended C? Yes. That's the kit extension from C# language, and you write Unity to get the exact. So if you're using VS Code and you want to install this particular extension, you just write Unity. You will get this extension, and it's by Microsoft, and install it.
Will
Okay.
installing it give me those the prompts you were getting while you're
Yes.
writing that?
Yes. Everything you will get.
I installed it right now, the Unity one, but I'm still not getting the prompt.
So maybe a restart is required for the Visual Studio Code.
Okay.
Right, but don't rely on prompts just now. Maybe after 2-3 classes you can actually use those. Okay. Okay, so now we'll just quickly move on. Now we have the speed variable we have to add. Awesome. Cool. And so now we have to make two things. First of all, I want to have a variable for the speed, which I can test out, which is the perfect speed for this particular experience. And I want to add I want to make my camera follow the car while it is moving. Okay, let me just save all of this first. So I'll just quickly go to this. And so these are the functions, say void start, void this with their own brackets. These are the functions to create variables. I can create like this. So public and say call float. So public means it is accessible by anyone who is a children of the class or maybe who is related to this class. Float is the type of the variable, and I'm calling it speed. And let's call it, say what, 20. Right, now we have this. So instead of writing 20 directly over here, which is a very bad bad way of doing, we will just use a variable name, right? Speed like this. Now it is ready. Then I can just I should be able to see it in my inspector window, right? So if I click on my car, I should be able to see car controller. I can see the speed over here. So now while it is running, I can actually change the speed and see whichever works. So I can just reduce the speed. I can make it 110. So if I go to my car, it is falling. Okay, it is already fallen, right? So you can change this, or maybe like let's make it 2. And now I see how it moves. See, very slowly it is going like this. I don't know if it will move after this obstacle. So if you see it, the obstacle fell before the car touched it. That is because of the collider. So collider is a wrapping envelope around the actual object. See, now it is moving at 20. Let's make it 50. Yeah, so now it became fast and furious all of a sudden, right? So now we have a variable. You can change it in the inspector and make sure, like, see, in my script it is 20 here, but in the inspector it is 2. So this value, whichever there is there in the inspector, will override the value of the script. So even if you do it like say 100 over here, it will still go by 2 only, because the inspector has priority over the script. So maybe once you are done, remove it, make it 20 over here, or make this variable as private. Okay, we should not expose the variables like this. So next thing is we want to make the camera follow my car, because currently my camera stays over here only and the car went off. That's not the behavior we are looking for. Okay, so for that, See, my camera is here, but the car is going. I want my camera to follow the car. So I'll create a new script. I'm in the scripts folder, assets, scripts folder, right click, create new script. Right. I'll call it, say, follow car. Right. Or you can name whatever you want, but it should make sense. The name. I'm naming it like follow car. It is a new script. I'll open it. And I want this thing to follow my car. Right. So basically, I want an object which this should follow. And on which game object I will apply this? This will be applied to main camera. So I'll apply right away. I'll click, drag, and release click. So I have follow car over here, right? Now I want a reference, like which object to follow. So I'll do a public game object car. See, by default it understood because the name is follow car. So the intelligence understood that the game object has to be car, right? So this is my car, or you can call whatever you want. Object to follow. Let's see, object to follow. It will be easier to understand. Object to follow, right? And we should follow camel case for this, right? Object to follow. Now next is, so how can you do this? So basically in update, I want the camera. What I want in the camera? The camera should follow the car, right? And how can you do this? Set the transform camera transform. Transform means the position, rotation, the scale of the camera to the car transform, right? So basically, I'll tell at every step, go to the car location, go to the car location, go to the car location. That's what the kind of behavior we are expecting. So how will I do is transform dot position. So this thing is the position of the camera, right? Because this transform means on which this script is attached to the transform of that object, right? Transform dot position is equal to what should I do? Object to follow transform dot position, because this object is also a game object. That means it will have a transform and transform will have a position. So this thing should solve our problem. We will see it in a bit, like this. So if I see, I should see my car, but the car, this is still not happening. Why? Let's see the errors. There are 505 errors. So basically there is just one error, but the error is happening at this stage. Object to follow. We have defined game object to follow, but what is this object? We have not defined the reference. We have defined there is an object that you need to follow, but what is that object actually within the scene? We have not done that. Okay, so that's the error. So the unassigned reference exception, the variable object to follow or follow car has not been assigned because you're not assigned it. So we basically, if you encounter any error, just double click on the error. It will open the script and the cursor will be at the line where the error is, right? So you cannot see any error over here because script wise there is not an error. The error is here. You click on camera, go to say follow car, and there is no object. It is expecting a game object to follow. So I'll just drag and drop my car from my hierarchy to this. Now it has a object which needs to be followed and it's not empty. Now I'll play, it should work. Let's play and see. Yes, it is following, but there something is weird about the view. Why so? If you look at my camera, if I just pause before it falls off. Yeah. Okay, let me go close. Yeah. So my main camera is over here. So our problem is solved. Like half of it is solved, but we want an offset. So camera should not be here. The camera should be somewhere here. This is where we want. So it should always keep a certain distance behind and above of the game object to follow. If I'm just directly doing the transform, so my car's transform or the center of my car is somewhere here. So the transform value, the transform is giving me this position. So I'm actually setting my camera inside the car. But what I actually want is my camera to be somewhere here so that I see this kind of a view, maybe like this and that. So what we can do is we can create a offset. So basically transform to this position plus some distance to in the back and some distance above with some angle, right? So we have to create an offset parameter. Now we understood. So let's play, pause it. I'll create an offset. So it has to be public or before creating a variable, let's try it out directly over here. So camera dot position. So this is what position. Position is XYZ, right? And this whole thing is XYZ. Now I just want to add some offset to it. So what I can do is new vector. It is just like it is creating a new vector, and it should be what 0. I'm just following the PDF -7 to see if it works. So basically, my camera should be this position plus this position, right? So this is a Z. So basically, come back a bit and add the 5. So basically, it will go to the camera transform and then add this vector to it. I hope you are getting it. So there is a lot of fun, cool math also involved in this. So now it should work, and we can tweak this offset based on our view, based on some trial and error. Okay, so now see it is following correctly, right? My camera is following at a certain distance, right? Nicely. Cool then. The problem is solved. It is working fine. But adding a raw vector or adding a raw numbers in this way is not the correct way to do it. So what we'll do is we create a public vector3, which is called an camera offset. Let's call it camera offset and is equal to vector3, or maybe we call it new vector3, new vector3, and we'll just replace the same thing. Okay, like this, and we can directly use camera offset here instead of this whole new thing. Right now I can play with around with these values in my inspector window. All right, so if I click here, it is still loading the script. I'll play and I'll see. If I click on my car, I should be able to see. Yeah, so it is working fine now. Okay. Cool then. So we'll make it private because vector3s are not available there. Okay. Cool. This is working fine. Now, I think some of you might face this thing, which is like a small jitter. If you maybe let me play it full screen. So there's a small jitter, or you can say, see, some jerks are there. That is because our camera is the main entry point, and all the renders that is happening needs to be updated on the camera, and we are changing the camera transform at each update, right? So there is kind of a slight friction between those two. So to fix that, what we can do is there is a separate function called late update. There is a function called late update, which is basically the update function for all the physics activities. So instead of update, I'll just write late update over here. So I want to update my camera on once all the physics has been updated, right? Not before that, just to smooth out all of this, right? So now see if we have the jitter anymore or not. So it's kind of a very minute change, but from the see, now the camera is not even following. Why so? The script is not saved. Okay, late update. The name is wrong. Yeah. Okay. So now it will work. Yeah, see, now there is no jitter. It's more very smooth action now. That was solved by the late update thing. So late update is a predefined inbuilt function in Unity, which is kind of the update which happens after a physics update happens, right? Some changes, some rigid body, some collision happens. It is that update, not the every frame wala update. Okay. So now if you want to change the tint color, yeah, cool. I think this is the last point of like today's class. Okay. So if you want to change, so when I click on play, I see a green color tinge. If you want to do that for yourself, you can actually go to this edit preferences and play mode tint. Left menu colors, and you want to change which color? Play mode tint is where play mode tint. You can change this color to any color you want, just to highlight when you change when you enter the play mode, or you can choose any color Let's try pink. Okay, so if I now click on play, it should, see, it is changing to pink. Just to let you know that we are in play mode. Currently, you must be having that light gray kind of a thing. Right, so let's have a quick recap. We learned how to write our own scripts, define variables, how to make any object move, right? So maybe tomorrow you guys do up till here, and we can then go ahead and do a keyboard controlled car kind of a thing, right? We understood about what the start function, what is the late update, what is update, and we created our own scripts. We added our own objects. We created a prefab, right? We understood about some of the concepts like rigid body, and when to not to use rigid body, as one of you pointed out, right? Mesh colliders, all of that we understood. So I think it is good for today. If you have any doubts or if you got stuck anywhere, you let me know. I'll change my preference back to blue, or else we are done for today. Let me know who all have done, like who all have followed the class till here. They were able to create, import the project, custom community package, load the environment or the scene prototype one, then maybe add the car, add the obstacles, create your own script.
Actually, the last script where we need to integrate that image,
Where you need to
put it, the where to add the last script.
where to add, let me just share my screen. Where to add what?
The last script, the previous script, we need to add it to the.
So this follow car, this is the script which will make anything follow some other thing. So this script needs to be attached to the camera because I want my camera to follow the car, right?
Okay.
If you look at the script, it is like in update I'm doing, transform the
I can
position
see.
of this particular game object to follow this object,
I can
right?
see.
You can't see, is it?
Screen I can see.
Okay, screen one share. Can you see the screen now?
Yeah, now we can.
So basically, this script has this definition where what we are essentially doing is I want this particular game object to follow this object, right?
Okay.
So I want to attach this particular script onto camera because our goal is to make the camera move or follow the car, right?
Okay.
So I will attach this to the main camera, and the object to follow should be my car. So if you look at main camera, follow camera script, okay, let's move it here. Follow car, in object to follow, I am adding my car. So if
Okay.
you make any other object you want it to follow, then you can attach that object over here. But
Okay.
this whole script should be attached to the main camera, right?
Okay.
Because then only it will make that change the transfer of the camera to follow this particular object based on the script that we have written.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, doubts, or if you guys stuck, just try it out. It's there in the PDF. We are done till 1.3. 1.3 is done. We'll start from 1.4 tomorrow. Step into driver's seat of the lesson plan 1. So you are free to explore after it or before it. If you are done, then it's okay. If you get stuck, you let me know. You can put it in WhatsApp as well. Couldn't follow. What was the last script? I think you only asked, right? Camera offset 1. Okay, camera offset. Camera offset. All right. Let me share again. Prakriti, right? You wanted to understand this camera follow thing.
Yeah, when you so at first you directly wrote the variable 0, 5, -7, and then you
Yes.
changed it. And I
Yes.
think I made a mistake in copying the code because I got an error.
Yeah. So what's the error? So basically, we wrote this thing over here directly, but then
Yeah.
I created a variable so that it's a better practice to not directly use this,
But
right?
why did you change from public to private?
So with public, just like here, if I click on my car, I should be able to see the speed thing. If I click on my camera, if I make it public, it should be visible over here, right? So if I let it compile, it should come up here. So public means I can see it over here. So whatever variable is public will be visible in the inspector window. Let it load. Yeah. So see, you can see the offset over here. So basically, we should not expose. It is more towards like coding practice, but for you, for now, it is fine. You can make everything public, right? But for when you are once you are making a complete full-fledged game which needs to be deployed somewhere or given to a client, then you should not do it. It will making public means, and from any I can write a new script, and from that I can access and change all of these parameters which are public, right? So it is not secure, but for now it is perfectly fine because we are learning. So you can actually test out which value works for me or not. So for that purpose, I have made it public. Once I was happy with the 0, 5, and -7, I made it private, just like that.
Got it. Got it.
Okay, any more doubts? Final minute before we call it a day for today. I think you guys have just 20 minutes to grab your dinner. I think 10 of you already left for the dinner. Okay, then, guys, we'll see you tomorrow, same time. And you try this out. If you get stuck anywhere, put it in WhatsApp. I'll try to help you.
One small question in the Visual Studio Code, the installation, it's Unity integrates Visual Studio Code, the Microsoft one. That is the one, right?
So, if you already have Visual Studio, the software, then you do not need Visual Studio Code because they are essentially the same thing. If you do not have any code editor, then you install VS Code
I have Visual Studio.
Studio. So then you want to understand, right? This no preferences, like the code editor. It should be. Let me just check package manager jobs. So here it is external tools. You can choose your Visual Studio somewhere here. So currently I've set it to a Visual Studio Code. So whenever I click on a script, it will open Visual Studio Code only for me. So you should see all the code editors over here. If you go to edit preferences and external tools, you change it to your editor that you want. Then it will open up your script in that editor. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Can you see it?
I'm not able to see your screen.
Oh, sorry. So I'll just share again. So basically, if you go to edit, you go to preferences and you go to external tools, then you see it over here, external script editor. For here, I have chosen Visual Studio Code. You can choose Visual Studio, whatever version you have. Then when you double click any of the scripts, say car controller, it will by default open up in that editor.
Okay. I think I have Visual Studio Code only, but I was not getting the those prompts.
Prompts, then maybe
Yeah.
it's about some extension. So extension, Unity, have you had do you have this extension?
I just downloaded it, but I was still not getting the prompt.
Yes, enabled. So enabled, you have this, I think just download these three, C# devkit and the Unity one. They should fix your problem.
Could you send the names in the chat or maybe in WhatsApp so I can do it?
So C# devkit and Unity. I'll just put in the chat. VS Code extensions. Unity, C#, devkit.
Got it.
But for these simple codes, you can write it yourself only. And all of the code is available in the PDF. You can just directly use from there or copy paste or maybe just write yourself.
Okay. Okay, got it.
Okay, guys, any more questions? Okay, then, Professor Gautam, I think it was longer than expected.
Yeah, I mean, since these are initial sessions, it might take some time.
Yeah, initial 4 session will take time, then we can speed up a bit, or otherwise it's okay. Cool then.
Yeah.
So we will finish unit 1 by tomorrow.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so that's fine only. Cool then. Thank you, everyone. Have a great dinner and see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay,
sir.
Professor Gautam. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.